Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here, and once again, it is time for a manga update video. And this time, we're going to be doing it by titles as well as by genres as well. And this is going to be my new video where I'm showcasing some manga titles in the letter A category on there. Just to give a little head start the hair on there as well. Because I'm starting getting into like going manga by genre as well as, well, you guessed it, every one of them. Just only on the genres for the manga as well. On every manga title. So, thus being said though, so without any further ado, which is right here and right now, let's dive into this one as well. For this manga update. The first one here, I'm going to start in the letter A category on there. Is this manga series that I have here that I'm basically reading, and that is After School Charisma. What can I say? This is basically my favorite of this thing to read on there, especially if you ever been like ever wanted to come by on reading manga like this for a change, though, is that you could know this particularly, that despite that this is basically part of Viz's signature collection on there, I have a feeling that I've always wanted to check on there on every little thing I've ever have got to this as well. Yeah. So this has got to explain for how I wanted to come by on this. Yeah. And this basically of how I wanted to come by for this as well. And I have to get more remaining volumes. I will be picking up like 7 remaining volumes as well as the rest of them as well. And, of course, basically of how I wanted to come by for this one there, as well, of how I wanted to realize as well. Yeah, because I wanted to show you the pages on there, just as proofs that I'm starting to be reading a lot of more manga than any books in general, though, as well. And another manga that I have, that I'm basically still currently reading, and I think this is part of the Tokyo Pop releases, and that is Ayori Aoshi. What can I say, though? This is basically one of those, like, romantic comedy manga, or, like, these rom-com ones. Yeah, because despite I noticed on the genre on the back of this manga, which I didn't notice about that particularly. But although I have never seen the anime, though, but I've always wanted to start with the manga, though, because I thought being the manga reader has helped you a lot more better for it to do, particularly. Just to considering how I wanted to read this one, particularly of how I wanted to come by for this as well. And yeah, particularly, I've always wanted to get the good things about this manga. And another manga that I just recently have started reading, and this is actually the first volume I have ever owned, despite though that I wanted to read the manga a lot more. That's the whole point of it. And that is Attack on Titan. This is basically one of these manga titles that have been adapted to the anime. I mean, I have nothing against the manga, though, but the fandom may be toxic, though, but just to come to think of it, though, is that. But I just came here for the manga, particularly, because I've always wanted to read this for a change, though, as well. Despite that, this is published by Kodansha comics, because there's a lot of manga titles out there from Kodansha in the market, though, as how you would expect, of how I wanted to come by to read this for a change, as how I want to come accordingly. And another manga that I just got on there, and this is basically the one here, and this is basically all in Japanese, though, and that is, the first one I have here is Attack on Titan Junior High. Yes, there is a manga adaptation, though, although it's been a while since I've seen the Attack on Titan Junior High anime, though, but I have never read the manga. But when I saw this, I wanted to start reading this manga, particularly. I mean, sort of like, it's basically how they use this source material of the original Attack on Titan manga source material, though, but they wanted to have this setting in a junior high school like setting, particularly of how I wanted to come across for how they wanted to make money off of it, just so they can make another manga of how they wanted to do this as well. And yes, this is basically in Japanese, though, because I wanted to come by to read manga that are translated in Japanese, that's why. And another manga that I just have right here, though, and this is basically how I wanted to get into by genres on there, and that is anime. This is another manga from mangaka artist Natsumi Mukai, which is another mangaka artist on there, particularly of how I wanted to come by for this one, particularly of how you could expect for this, of how this is part of these Tokyo Pop releases on there, as how I wanted to come across for having these titles like this one, of how you would know, because I need to get the remaining volumes out one of these days, though, because I'm starting getting into the manga, though, because this is how it got my expectations of how I became a manga reader, not just an anime watcher, but I was more of a manga reader, though, but this explains why, particularly, but I will do a discussion on that at some point in the nearest future, particularly as how I wanted to come by for this one, as how you would expect of how I wanted to come by, of how you want to know. Yeah, because I have to come across for this. And that's the whole thing, though. And finally, another manga that I just wanted to pick, and this is another one that I just wanted to check out, though, of how I wanted to read some more manga on there, because this is one of those prequel to the original manga, and that is Aqua. This is basically like a prequel to Aria, which is another manga from mangaka artist Kozue Amano. Yeah, because this is basically part of Kozue Amano's manga hits on there, particularly. Kind of like how I would come across of how I wanted to discover different manga titles from, like, different manga artists in general, particularly. Especially, like, mangaka authors, basically. And yet, this is the first time I wanted to check this one out as well, because I have never seen the Aria anime, to be honest, though, but I thought this is new. I wanted to check this one out, and this explains how I wanted to come by to check out these titles of manga out there in the general, which is out there on the market, in case you wonder why, of how I wanted to do this as well. And finally, at last, another manga I just have right here that I have been rereading, like, maybe once, twice, maybe third times on my reading logs, and the fourth time as well, and that is Azumanga Daioh. And in my opinion, though, basically, this manga basically how it's dealing with like everyday lives in schools as well, from more different than breaking fourth wall type humor though as well. But this, on the other hand, particularly of how I wanted to come by, of how this has been collected, all 4 volumes in a omnibus though. However, there is also this from Vertical Comics available, but I do got this particularly. Although I have done a manga review on the Azumanga Daioh in my previous manga review a while back though. Despite though, I mean, I have seen the anime though, but I kind of like the manga a lot more than the anime adaptation. Well, the anime adaptation, it's okay. It's good though. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do heard good things about the manga a lot more, though. They put in these little page panels on every chapter of how what Azumanga Daioh had a lot to do, particularly. And yes, this is how considered that this is actually an omnibus on there. This has gotten to how it's more different than any other mangas, especially the gag mangas everywhere in general, accordingly to the fact of how... And yes, there is this page on there, which is more different from other little panel ones, like, especially this is what you expect of how the manga presented it like this. On some other chapters, these little panels, like during their everyday lives in school, though, because on every parts of the original manga source material, of how they wanted to come by on there for their curriculum way, as how you wanted to come by for this as well. And thus being said, accordingly, for the facts of how I have been showcasing some manga titles in the letter A category from my manga collection. This basically of how I wanted to come by for this as well, you noticed. And for overall though, is that I wanted to go by titles for every manga, like by authors, by genre, or by the title that I can find, every one of them in general, of how you would expect, particularly of how I wanted to come for that as well. Any manga recommendations on here? If anyone who could like any manga title on there, like if you ever loved reading the Azumanga Daioh, there's a whole lot of other manga recommendations. If you want to check out other manga titles that are similar to the other ones in general, accordingly. And this explains of how having to come across particularly of how sorry, I was a little tired though, as well, because you have to have something with ever wanted to have like a manga recommendation. If you like a manga as opposed to having a favorite though, you might as well recommending other manga titles to anyone who likes those kind of titles on every manga on there. It doesn't matter if it's whether it's horror, shonen, shoujo, isekai, slice of life. There's a lot of titles on every manga, if you ever go on, by genre or by mangaka artists on there accordingly. And then this explains of how it's got to learn over the facts as well. Then again, just to consider how I have been picking manga titles from the letter A's to in the manga title category particularly, just considered ever since I have been reading the book, the Manga Encyclopedia, when I was at the library after lunch, when I remembered, which I think this was like back in 2017, which was how many years ago, I think? 2017, 18, 19, 2020. Yeah, it's been 5 years as well. I mean, it's been a while since I read the manga encyclopedia, because I mean, it just helps how I want to get into to know something great about how what's so great for manga as well, specifically Japanese comics in general, though, and as well as thus being for that, I might as well think about reorganizing my manga collection if I can go it by category, as well as if you ever do it by under titles, under whether it's Weekly Shonen Sunday or Shonen Jump. If you have these manga titles that are part of Shonen Jump as well, same goes with these Viz signature ones, as well as you go manga titles by authors on there, because I have what I got. Like, for example, like I have for the manga artist spotlight kind of ones as well. Especially, like, I have these bunch of manga titles from mangaka artists. Like, take for example Rumiko Takahashi, because I have Urusei Yatsura, Meizani Koku, Ranma 1/2, and Inuyasha. Those are the 4 manga titles that are the notable works that are created by Rumiko Takahashi. Because it has got to a feeling, because I might as well get more other titles from Rumiko Takahashi. There's a lot of manga titles out there, like Rumik Theater, Mermaid Saga. There's her recent work like Mao and the Ghost Story manga or whatever. I forgot the name of that manga title from Rumiko Takahashi has made. Or I forgot what it was, but might as well check it out. And Renee, another manga title. You know, the protagonist character with the red hair in that manga that is part of the works of Rumiko Takahashi, though, which is part of the Rumiko Takahashi world as well. Just to get to know for the facts accordingly, as how I wanted to come by for this as well. Same goes with the Dragon Ball manga highlight ones as well. Like, if you have every manga titles from Akira Toriyama, like Kawa, Sandland, Dr. Slump, the Dragon Ball mangas as well, especially you want to pick for highlights. I have a couple of manga titles from Nobuhiro Watsuki, which I have are Rurouni Kenshin and Buso Renkin as well. Because I have a feeling, because I have these notable mangaka artists highlight feel, particularly whenever I can come by for this. And same goes with these genres on there. And also, having a majority of you want to have to figuring the facts as well. And also, for the manga artist highlight thing, though, like, Yoshihiro Togashi has notable manga titles like Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter as well. Because those are the 2 notable works from Yoshihiro Togashi. And also, same goes with Yuwatase, because she is the creator of Fushigi Yugi and Eris Celestial Legend. There's other titles from Yuwatase that she has famously worked on, which I have to check them out, though, whenever I could do like a mangaka artist highlight video at this point, where I can, especially with the original manga as well. Not necessarily anime adaptations in general, but the original manga as well, because I have been reading over 1,000 titles of manga everywhere, whether I can borrow manga books from libraries, or if I can buy them from like anywhere, like book sales at libraries, or at anime conventions, local anime stores, Amazon online, and also there's the only ones you can buy manga you want to get as a go-to online shopping, which is Right Stuff Anime Online. That's the perfect one where you want to buy more manga, especially if you're a manga collector. And also, same goes with, there's other titles from uh, what's the other manga cars? Kentaro Miura. There's a lot of them aside Berserk. Although Berserk is basically the more notable manga titles from Kentaro Miura as well. In case you're wondering, just to give you a little answer about that as well, accordingly as well. Although basically, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid manga was created by mangaka artist Kuryu Shinsha as well. Accordingly to the fact, though, as how if there's any other manga title articles from Kuryu Shinsha as well, particularly. And this explains of how I have started coming the leaps and bounds of how I wanted to start becoming devoted exclusively as a manga reader, particularly because I have to go manga titles by the category under Shonen Jump or Weekly Shonen Sunday, Weekly Shonen Jump or Weekly Shonen Sunday, as well as every other one on the market, though, as well. Especially if you have manga by publishers, like if it's either Kodansha or Tokyo Pop or Viz on there. There's also the original manga books on there that are that are published by under Shogakukan, as well as the Flower Comics one, the Shonen Sunday Comics one, as well as Weekly Jump Comics, especially in those like Japanese editions of these manga books as well, accordingly to the fact of how I wanted to cover this, of how I could come across for any one of them in general. Not necessarily of how I wanted to do this particularly, of how you would expect of wanting to come by if you ever go through by genre though. And also there's other manga and let's not forget about there's other manga publishers on there like Vertical Comics and Square Enix and Udon Entertainment as well, which I've forgotten about those as well. And there's also manga books that are part of Shoujo Beat also as well. I almost forgot about this one, accordingly, as how I wanted to come for this. And also, same goes with other manga titles that are published under Dark Horse on their comics on there, because there's a lot of them everywhere out there as well. And it seems, though, is that every one of those as well, of how I wanted to do this for what's in store, of how I wanted to come across, particularly of how I wanted to explain for how I wanted to do this, particularly of how, just to consider though, it doesn't matter basically if you have these complete manga volumes, if you buy them all together though, you can buy them for a deal though, as well as you could buy all of them completed in these manga box sets, or these Viz Big editions, like these 2-in-1 editions, or these 3-in-1 editions on these every manga options you have. And there's also the omnibus on there. However, there is some manga books on there that have with these box sets with a complete art book on there. Like, for example, the Akira manga box set on there. That is one of them that basically takes the cake for every manga collector for notice about that. So that's going to be it for my manga update video here for today, you guys. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's what I'm saying for this video. Well, this is the first time I wanted to separate those manga titles on there as how I wanted to come across for this, because I wanted to do a video like this one as well, just to change things up a bit as well, because I haven't thought of doing one like this until now, despite that I have been doing a lot of my previous manga update videos in the past though. Especially though if you're watching the channel though, I'm starting getting into the going manga titles by genres on every titles, as well as manga books that are published in the years as well, accordingly. Because I'm starting getting into like manga reading vlogs, manga reviews, and manga haul videos as well. And also manga artist highlight, where I could discuss about these manga authors that are famous for these notable titles, what they're known for as well, in case you're wondering. And also manga publisher highlight, also, where I can talk about manga publishers from companies as well that were especially the ones like that were published in English as well, including Seven Seas Entertainment, because there's a lot of manga titles from Seven Seas Entertainment accordingly also as well. Hope to subscribe for content. My Anime Planet Patreon links will be in the description down below if you want to check them out, because I have a backlog of manga and anime on my Anime Planet account. Feel free to check my links to my Anime Planet and Patreon, which those links will be in the description down below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below on this video. Let me know if you like as well. Smack the like button if you enjoy this video. Be sure to click on the subscribe button. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're new to my channel, though. Especially if you're watching this video, though, as well. And also be sure to smack the notifications bell button. Be sure to get notified also as well for more latest updates on here as well. And that's all I have what I got for this video, though. Well, and keep it otaku for this manga update video, because I'm doing it by the titles on here, because I'm getting it devotedly, almost exclusively to showcasing manga titles in the manga for the future manga update videos, starting with the ones by genre, especially whenever I can come across for this as well. Because I'm starting getting into like manga haul videos as well as my entire massive anime DVD and Blu-ray haul videos as well, whenever I can buy more of them on DVD and Blu-ray as well. And as well as Gunpla and anime figures from everything from Banpresso, SH Figuarts, Nanodroids, and Q-Posket also as well on these anime figures as well. And even the ones that I can find that are imported from Japan, which I can find those at local anime stores as well, whenever I can do this as well, if you're watching the channel, though, as well. Well, I know today's Friday because we're getting closer to the weekend, though, because I wanted to do this video. This is Rurouni K95 saying thank you for watching my video. I'm glad you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you soon for the next video. Hope you have a great day. This is Rurouni K95 signing off. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you soon for more videos. Take care. I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.